Hello guys, Akshay JH here and welcome back. In this part we're gonna implement Google sign in our app. So first of all, I have an announcement to make that we have launched our TVAC articles website, and in this website I'll be posting articles related to tips and tricks and written tutorials about Android web design and also some graphic design. So as you can see that I have already posted a few articles over here. This one is the animation of reveal animation for Android. You can go ahead and download the full source code from GitHub, or check out the code how to do it by yourself. So this is the website you can see. So let's move to the tutorial now, and here you can see that inside our auth library I have already tried once and I got lots of errors, and the problem was actually I wasn't even including the SHA1 key, so or you call it SHA1, but that's okay because we have finally finished it and we are going to proceed to implementing the UI. So what I'm gonna do first is if you go down to your main activity, if you have removed all your users, you may already be facing an error, and that is probably the app crash on the main activity. Now the fix for that is you just go down to your check user exist on your main activity, this method, and you just add in one if statement over here. Just make sure that it's pointing to the mauth which is created over here, mauth get instance. So inside the if statement we type in mauth.current user, and if it is null, that means this code shouldn't if it is not null, only then this code should run, or else it shouldn't. So that's the fix for the crash. Now moving on to the login part, make sure that inside your let me just go down to app level Gradle file, make sure that you include both of these dependencies. Here you can see that I have already included these, and one more thing is there that on few devices like Samsung and HTC there can be more errors. So for that, to fix that, you need to also include the play services as well. So if you can see over here, just type in these three dependencies in your app level Gradle file, and make sure that you match the version with your rest of the Firebase libraries. Now I'm going to go down to the activity login, and I'm going to add a sign in button with wrap content, and I'm going to give it an ID of Google button. Alright, then I'm going to go to my design view, and let's just refresh, and I'm going to move this button to over here. Then I'm going to add in margin from top about 30 dp. Then I'm going to go to the login activity and let's set the reference. So private sign in button, msign, let's say mgoogle button, and over here mgoogle button equals sign in button find view by id r.id.google button. Alright, so we have set up the binder for our Google button. Now the next thing is we just include the rest of the code. So for that I'm going to go to my Google Chrome, and let's create the Google sign in option API first. So I'm going to copy this, and inside our own create method let's create few space for this one. So I'm going to just comment Google sign in, alright, and then paste it over here. This has created the Google sign-in options. Now this may ask a few imports, or because I have already imported every statement, so you guys may have to include that. Then the next thing is we need to create an method with the intent to fire up the sign-in process. Alright, so this needs an integer. Let's create it over here. So I'm going to say private static final int equals some unique integer. Then we need Google client, Google API client. So creating that is also really easy. Come down here and let's say Google API client, mgoogle API client. I'm going to call this one because that's the name inside this intent. Then we can set it over here, mgoogle API client equals new Google API client dot builder, the second one, not the first one. Then inside this, this is just the current class. Then we need to add enable, let's say enable auto manage. We set the fragment activity and also new on connection failure listener. All right, after that we need to add API and sorry, I'm going to use the auth Google sign in API and one more parameters, that is the GSO. We need to pass in the Google sign in option that we created over here, and lastly build. And inside this one, on connection failure listener, you can log statement, or you can add in a toast or maybe your custom message box, but I'm going to leave it like this. Then after the intent is returned, it returns the result inside the on activity results method. So I'm going to paste in this over here, and this again requires one more method. You can create it by yourself, or you can just simply copy it from this page over here. So I'm going to copy this Firebase auth with Google, and let's paste it down here. Now both of these may require you to import many statements that you need to do manually, because I have already done that. So I'm going to change it from their context to ours, the login activity. Then I'm going to create a last one string, that is the tag for the log statement. So private static final string tag equals login activity. Yep. Then everything is done. Last thing that is left is our mgoogle button dot set on click listener new on click listener. So somebody taps on it, it should fire up this sign in intent, this method. Inside that there's our intent. Now as you can see that this fires up the intent, and this is, returns the result when user selects an account. Now obviously we want, once the user selects an account, it should start the progress dialog that we have created earlier, if you remember. And set message, I'm going to say starting sign in. All right, and mprogress dot show. Then if we get any error, what it should do, it should just dismiss, and you can add in a toast over here if you are actually getting an error regarding this UI. Or if we don't get any error, this should dismiss right after the sign in is done successfully. Now I'm going to run the app to see if the code is running well. Now there is a lot of code in here, so if you guys are just beginner, make sure that you watch the previous tutorials about the Google sign in and the normal sign in. So watching this tutorial directly may confuse you a lot, but if you guys have watched the basics, you should get it. So here my app is running now, and let's see. Yeah, we got the button. I'm going to tap on the button and it will provide me a account chooser. Then I'm going to choose the account and it should fire up the progress bar. Once the progress bar once the sign in is finished, the progress bar should dismiss and they will get an error. Now let's see what exactly we got the error. And it says unable to create Android application, Firebase with name doesn't exist. Now that's a weird error. Alright, this shouldn't usually happen. Let me just, there's one more thing that I want to tell you guys is you need to do is make sure that you add in your SHA1 code, because that's gonna cause error. So if you go down to your app dashboard, click on this options button, then go to manage, and inside your Android Studio, let's see, there we are, sign in with Google account to add in cloud functionality. Now this is very different because lastly I wasn't getting this. Let me just see where we get these sign in report, or if you don't get it from there, we have this griddle. Open it up, go to your app name, then task, then Android, double click on this one, and this should return you the SHA1 print fingerprint. You just copy this one, and if you come down over here, add fingerprint, or if you have already added, just edit or change it. So that's a must to run the Google sign-in. If I come down to my auth library over here, now you can see that it has already signed in, but we are getting an error. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pause this video right here, and I'll be posting the next video about fixing this error, and you guys should proceed with the Google sign-in then. So see you guys in next part.